Hi, it's Tom, and this is the fifth video in or the fifth tutorial in the CardBox tutorial series. What we're going to do is we're going to take our CardBox user control and put it in a Windows Form application. So to save us a little bit of time here, I went through and I added a new project to our solution. Okay, the new project that I chose was a Windows Form application. I gave it a name and chose OK. I'm not going to do that because I've already gone ahead and done that, and it created the name I chose was CardBox Tester. I spelled tester wrong, but at any rate. Then what I did, was I made sure that that was my set as my startup project. Um, so. Um, I went through the main form. I just renamed it to main form. I renamed the actual form itself to FRM main form, which is the standard that we did. If you can think back to Intro to Programming, I put a few controls on the form and set some properties. So basically, I have a program that looks like this. Okay, there's a button here, a couple of drop-down menus where I can select either the suit or the rank. I've got a couple of labels and I've got some space to put a card control. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. But looking back at this, I'll go to properties here. I'll pin that one instead. And I can see I've got form, main form, some other controls I have on there. Button, flip card, combo box, card name. I probably should have called that card rank. Um, combo suit. The form's called form, main form, label clicked, and label flipped. Okay, those are all the components to my GUI. All right. Now I haven't yet added the reference to the control, so I'll do that now. So for me, based on the sequence of things that I've done, I can simply go straight to the toolbar. I'm going to pin it down here, and I'll notice that I've got the CardBox components already set up. So I can just drag it on. If I go into references, I can see that the CardBox is already there. Now, depending on what you do, that might not always be the case. Okay, so I could have gone through and added the reference explicitly. Okay, so again, going to the solution projects, selecting CardBox and including it. And if I didn't see it on the toolbar here, I could always add it by right-clicking in my toolbox, choosing Choose Items, whatever category I want, Choose Items. You might have to wait a few seconds for this to finish its job the first time you run it. It doesn't really matter what tab you click on. It's browse that is what you want to do, and then just actually go to the DLL for the CardBox control or whatever your user control is, and select it, and that will cause the user control to show up in your toolbox, which is handy. I just didn't have to do that again because I've been, going through. It's been able to take care of that for me. So as you saw, I just dragged that card box over to rough. Oh, I don't want another one. Sorry. To roughly where I want it to go. Okay, I want to leave room here. Okay, and let's look at the properties for this. So it's called CardBox 1. I'm not fussy on that one. I'll call it CBX test card. Okay, so a more meaningful name. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to add a click event handler for clicking on this CardBox control. So I'll go here to events. I'll choose click. And there we have the event handler. And let's make this a little wider. I'll hide my Solution Explorer here. So to test to see if this works, I've simply, when we click on the card, I'm changing the text property of label clicked to the name of the card. So I'm converting the CardBox test card into a string, to string. I'm not sure I need to do that twice. That might be a mistake. okay, was clicked last. All right, so I can try running that. So I click on the card, face down was clicked last because the card is face down. All right. The other thing I'll test in my card click is changing the orientation of the card. So if the test card control card orientation is horizontal, then I want to make it vertical. Otherwise, I want to make it horizontal. So let's test this out. Okay, so we can see the card switching from horizontal to vertical and back and forth as I click it. Next, let's deal with flipping the card. So we'll add a click event to this flip card button. So if the user clicks the flip card button, what I want to do is I want to change the face up property of the control to not face up. So we'll try that out. Okay, oh, that's the click still works, flip card, and the click still works as well. You can flip it back over. All right, so that seems to work. Let's deal with these combo boxes next. Okay, so on selected index change of the combo suit control, okay, what I want to do is I just want to change what the suit of the card control is. So I'm going to change the suit to the selected index, and I'm going to typecast it as a card suit. Because the indexes on the suit combo box correspond to the actual suit enumeration, this should work fine. So we'll try this out. So I'll flip the card so we can actually see it, and then I'll try changing it from hearts to clubs, let's say. And that seems to work. Spades, hearts, diamonds, clubs. Let's try the same thing on the other combo box, the one for rank. Do this exact same kind of thing, except that the enumeration of card ranks starts with ace, which is 1, whereas the selected index for ace would be 0 and all the way down. So I've just added 1 to it. So we'll try running that. I'll flip the card. We'll make it clubs just for testing purposes, and let's try 10. Okay, and as I cycle through these, I should notice that they all work, and I make sure I test Joker as well. Alrighty. Next, let's see if we can raise a flipped event, or deal with a flipped event, I should say. So we'll go back here to Designer. I'll click on the actual form, and we'll look at the properties, and I'm just looking actually at the events, I should say, and I'm looking for the flipped event. Oh, it's not the form, I should say it's the card. Okay. There it is, card flipped. Okay, so we'll code a handler for this. All right, so here we are again. We're in our combo box test card flipped event handler. So to make this work, I'm going to add a private field. Okay, this private field is called flip count, and it's an integer, and I'm going to make it start off at 0, although I could put that in the constructor or the load event or something along those lines, but this will work. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase that flip counter and display it on the actual form. Okay, so every time the card is flipped, it increases the flip counter, and again, displays this output to the label flipped. So let's try that out. So flip the card, I can see card flip is 1. and it keeps going up by one every time I flip the card. Now, of course, if I wanted this functionality, I could have just coded that as part of the flip card button. But really what I wanted to test to see if my application would respond to that event. So that's why it's in that separate separate handler, just so I could test out that type of thing would actually work. So that takes care of most of the things that I wanted to test. There was really only one other feature of my CardBox control that I didn't test yet, which is the alternate constructor. So let's work on that one. At the moment, when I create my card to begin with, the card is just the default card, which is the Ace of Hearts. I'm going to add a load event to this. Oops. So I'm on the form. I'll add a load event. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to explicitly create a new playing card. So I create a new playing card called the card, and I'm using the constructor that actually allows me to specify which rank and suit that I want. So I'm choosing the black joker in this particular case for demonstration purposes. Next, what I'll do is I'll take that card that I just made and change the face-up property to true to begin with. And then finally, I'm going to take the CardBox control, and set the card property to this new card that I just created. Okay, so what that should do is instead of getting that default card that it was creating through the default constructor, it's using the parameterized constructor, and that's what it's initializing the card to. So we'll try running that. So we can see right off the bat that the card is flipped over, and it's the black joker. Okay, so this application essentially has tested out most of the features, if not all of the features of my CardBox control. So I'm reasonably satisfied that it works the way that it should work. In the next video, what I'll try to do is take my CardBox control as it is and just putting into a working program that's a little bit more practical than this tester. Thank you very much.